John Eck. Basically, Luther lived from 1483 to 1546. Basically, he said Scripture alone and expanded many Bible texts. You had John Calvin, who was more from 1509 to 64. He was a massive exegete who used he repudiated the time-honored allegorical method as wholeheartedly as Luther did. Not only did he enable the interpreter to extract whatever sense he wished from the text, but it effectively obscured the true sense intended by the Spirit. He was not disposed to maintain time-honored interpretations which found pretext for Christian doctrine in the most unlikely of places, says F.F. Bruce, if he thought that they were excluded by the plain sense of the context. In other words, Calvin was a master of the historical grammatical method. So these two guys, Luther and Calvin, were massive. Then there was there was a polemical situation of theological discussion during the Reformation. You have like Theodorus Biblaner in 1506 to 64, the father of biblical exegesis, says F.F. Bruce, in Switzerland, when repairing some of Calvin's omissions. Then you had Henrik Bullinger in 1504-75. Then in the post-Reformation period, you have Flacius and Camarius. Matthias Flacius Lyricus, 1520-75, published 1567 in his Clavis Scriptura Sacra, he only admits one sense of Scripture. Then we have Joachim Camarius, 1574, applied New Testament interpretation, says F.F. Bruce, to the principles which had mastered as a good student. Then we have the Catholic exegetes, and there are many of them. We'll just mention one or two. We have Johann Entius, who in 1547 wrote a preface to the Latin translation of Arthur's commentary on the book, says F.F. Bruce. We have two Jesuit scholars who made contributions of major importance, as F.F. Bruce. We have Francisco de Ribera, 1537-91, Lucius des Alcazar, 1554-1613. We have Grotius, Dutch jurist, 1583-1645, and he wrote Annotations Novum Testamentium, and was very philological and historical in his method. Then we have background studies. We have John Lightfoot, 1602-75, who saw that we should study the Bible in its historical context, and that means Jewish scholarship was brought into bear. And there was another number of Greek exegetes at the time, such as Johann Jacob Wettstein, 1693-1754, etc. Then we have the textual studies. We have the development of moving away from the Textus Receptus. We have a number of textual developments in textual criticism around about 1655 to 57. And you can go into detail on some of that in F.F. Bruce. Then we have Simler and Mechelles, who had new approaches. F.F. Bruce to interpretation was marked by the Abteilung von Freien Gebrauch des Kanons, 1771-75, of Johann Solomon Semler, 1725-91, which approached the New Testament canon on a historical basis. More on that. Then we had the Enlightenment, and we had Hermann Samuel Ramirez, we had Gotten Ephraim Lessing,